10 fermented drinks that will heal you instantly. What if the most powerful medicine ever discovered wasn't invented in a laboratory, wasn't patented by a pharmaceutical company, and didn't require a prescription? What if it was already sitting in a clay pot somewhere in ancient Mesopotamia, on a wooden shelf in a Korean farmhouse, in a leather pouch carried by a nomad across the Mongolian steppe? And what if we threw most of it away the moment we decided that modern science knew better? Here is what most people don't realize. The human gut contains approximately 38 trillion microbial cells, roughly equal to the number of human cells in your entire body. And for the vast majority of human history, our ancestors were feeding those microbes every single day with something that the modern world has almost entirely replaced with refrigeration and pasteurization. Fermented drinks, living beverages, cultures in the truest, deepest sense of that word. Research now suggests that the gut microbiome influences not just digestion, but immunity, mental health, inflammation, hormonal balance, and even how we age. Scientists call the gut-brain connection the second brain. And yet, the average modern diet actively starves the very microbial ecosystem that may be keeping us well. Well, we replaced ancient fermented beverages with carbonated sodas, sugary juices, artificially flavored drinks. Feeds almost nothing of value. Today, we're going to walk through 10 fermented drinks that history trusted and science is now beginning to understand. Number 7 might completely reframe how you think about digestion. And the final one on this list, the oldest of them all, changes everything about how we define healing. Stay with us. Starting at number 10, water kefir. Most people have heard of milk kefir, but its water-based cousin flies almost entirely under the radar, and that is a significant oversight. Water kefir has been found in traditional communities across Mexico, where a similar culture is called tibicos, and in parts of Africa and Asia, where sugar water fermentation has been practiced for generations. The grains used to ferment it are colonies of bacteria and yeast living in a symbiotic relationship. A living organism that transforms simple sugar water into a probiotic-rich beverage within 24 to 48 hours. Research suggests water kefir contains multiple strains of beneficial bacteria, including lactobacillus and Laconostoc species that may support gut lining integrity and immune response. It is dairy-free, making it accessible to people who cannot tolerate milk-based ferments. The caution is that it still contains residual sugars and small amounts of alcohol from fermentation. Those managing blood sugar should use it thoughtfully. Number 9 is Jun Tea. If Kombucha is the well-known elder sibling, Jun is the rare, quieter one that most of the world never meets. Originating in the high-altitude regions of Tibet and northern China, Jun is brewed with green tea and raw honey rather than the black tea and cane sugar used in kombucha. Monks in Himalayan traditions reportedly consumed it as a meditative, health-sustaining beverage for centuries. The honey base means Jun ferments at a lower temperature and produces a more delicate, complex flavor profile. Studies on honey fermentation indicate that raw honey contributes natural antimicrobial compounds, including hydrogen peroxide and methylglyoxal, which may survive partial fermentation and contribute to Jun's unique bioactive profile. It is less acidic than kombucha and often better tolerated by people with sensitive digestion. Finding authentic Jun cultures outside specialty fermentation communities requires some effort, but for those who locate one, the result is unlike anything commercially produced. At number 8, Kvass. In Russia, Ukraine, and across Eastern Europe, Kvass was not considered an alternative health drink. It was simply what people drank. Made by fermenting stale, rye bread and water, it was consumed by peasants and tsars alike, sold by street vendors in wooden barrels, and described in literature going back to the 10th century. Modern nutritional analysis reveals that rye-based kvass may contain B vitamins, particularly B1 and B2, produced during fermentation, as well as beneficial organic acids and lactic acid bacteria associated with digestive support. What makes Kvass remarkable is its origin story. It was born from scarcity, from the practical refusal to waste old bread. And yet that act of frugality produced something that kept communities nourished through brutal winters. Today, commercial kvass is often pasteurized and flavored with additives. Genuine fermented kvass, made at home with whole rye bread, water, and thyme, is an entirely different creature. Number 7, and this is one that may reframe how you think about digestion entirely. Beet kvass. Distinct from grain kvass, beet kvass is made by fermenting raw beets in salted water for several days. It has deep roots in Ukrainian and Eastern European folk medicine, where it was used specifically for liver complaints, sluggish digestion, and what traditional healers called thick blood. The science behind this intuition is striking. Beets are among the richest natural sources of betaine, a compound associated with liver detoxification pathways and nitrates that convert to nitric oxide and may support cardiovascular function. Fermentation appears to increase the bioavailability of these compounds while adding lactic acid bacteria that may support the gut lining. Research also suggests beet consumption may have meaningful effects on blood pressure. The flavor is intense, earthy, and deeply savory, nothing like beet juice. A small glass before meals has been a traditional practice, and emerging research suggests this timing may support bile production and fat digestion. 6 on our list is Tepache. Originating in pre-Columbian Mexico, Tepache is made from fermented pineapple rinds and cores, the parts of the fruit most people discard without a second thought. The Aztec civilization consumed a version of it long before European contact. Pineapple rinds contain bromelain, a powerful enzyme complex with documented anti-inflammatory properties, and the fermentation process may enhance the availability of certain phenolic compounds naturally present in pineapple skin. Studies indicate bromelain may support digestion of proteins, reduce swelling, and modulate certain inflammatory pathways. Tepache is low in alcohol, lightly sweet, gently effervescent, and takes roughly 2 to 3 days to prepare with nothing more than pineapple, piloncillo sugar, and water. It is one of the most accessible fermented drinks in the world, and one of the least known outside of Mexico. If this is opening up a new way of thinking about what you put into your body, take a moment right now and hit the like button. It genuinely helps this kind of content reach more people who need it. And if you want to keep going deeper into this territory, where ancestral knowledge and modern science converge, subscribe. The next 5 drinks are where this gets truly remarkable. Number 5, Amazake. In Japan, where longevity research has produced some of the world's most compelling data on aging well, Amazake has been consumed for over 1,000 years. The name translates roughly as sweet sake, but its connection to the alcoholic beverage ends there. Traditional Amazake is made by fermenting cooked rice with koji, a beneficial mold called Aspergillus oryzae that breaks down starches into natural sugars and amino acids. Research suggests koji fermentation produces a notable concentration of essential amino acids, B vitamins including B6 and folic acid, and digestive enzymes that may ease the metabolic burden of breaking down complex foods. Japanese tradition associates Amazake specifically with recovery. It is still sold warm at Shinto shrines during winter festivals, offered as a restorative after long ceremonial walks. Modern food scientists have identified compounds in Amazake that may support skin hydration and elasticity, which has contributed to a quiet resurgence in its popularity in the Japanese cosmetic and wellness industry. At number 4, Kefir, the original milk-based variety. Originating in the Caucasus Mountains thousands of years ago, Kefir's name is believed to derive from the Turkish word for good feeling. The Prophet Muhammad is said to have given kefir grains to the people of the Caucasus, calling them a gift of well-being. Whether or not that attribution holds historically, what is documented is that communities in the Caucasus region have long displayed exceptional longevity, and researchers have pointed to kefir consumption as one among several dietary factors worthy of study. Kefir contains upward of 60 distinct microbial strains, far more diverse than most commercial probiotic supplements. Studies indicate it may be tolerated by many people with lactose intolerance, as fermentation consumes most of the lactose. Research has associated regular kefir consumption with reduced markers of inflammation, improved bone density indicators, and possible antimicrobial effects against certain pathogens. It is, in measurable terms, one of the most microbiologically complex foods in the human diet. Number 3 is apple cider vinegar with the mother. The mother, that cloudy, strand-like substance that settles at the bottom of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar, is not an impurity. It is a colony of beneficial bacteria and enzymes, a living culture that forms during a second fermentation process. Hippocrates, the father of Western medicine, reportedly prescribed apple cider vinegar with honey for coughs and respiratory complaints around 400 BCE. Modern research has explored its potential effects on blood sugar regulation, with several studies suggesting it may help improve insulin sensitivity after carbohydrate-heavy meals. The acetic acid in apple cider vinegar has been associated with modest effects on fat storage metabolism in animal studies, though human data remains preliminary. The critical nuance: it should always be diluted before consumption, typically 1 to 2 tablespoons in a large glass of water. Undiluted, it is acidic enough to damage tooth, enamel, and irritate the esophagus. Number 2, kombucha. Few fermented beverages have traveled from ancient obscurity to global shelves more dramatically. Originating in northeastern China around 220 BCE, where it was called the Tea of Immortality during the Qin dynasty. Kombucha is made by fermenting sweetened tea with a SCOBY, a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. It arrived in Russia and Eastern Europe via trade routes, where it was called Manchurian mushroom tea and consumed for vitality and digestion. Research suggests kombucha may contain organic acids, including glucuronic acid, which is involved in liver detoxification pathways, as well as B vitamins, antioxidants from the tea base, and probiotic bacteria. Animal studies have shown liver protective effects. Human clinical data is still developing. What makes kombucha unique in this list is its ubiquity. It is one of the few ancient fermented beverages that successfully crossed into modern commercial culture. The caution is that most commercial versions are pasteurized, eliminating live cultures, and contain significant added sugar. Raw, unpasteurized kombucha, home-brewed or from a trusted small batch producer, is the version that carries the full biological complexity. And at number 1, the oldest fermented drink in human history. Fermented milk in its most ancestral form, what we might today call raw, cultured yogurt drink, or what the Vedic texts of India called Dadhi. Long before Kefir had a name, long before science could explain probiotics, the nomadic peoples of Central Asia were carrying fermented milk in animal skin bags, where the heat of the body and the microbial cultures already present in the hide would transform raw milk into something stable, nourishing, and teeming with life. This is documented in texts going back over 4,000 years. The Rig Veda, one of the oldest scriptures in human civilization, references fermented milk as an offering to the gods, not merely as food, but as sacred. What science has since revealed is why these ancient people revered it. Fermented milk in its raw, traditional form may contain hundreds of bacterial strains, bioavailable calcium, casein-derived peptides associated with blood pressure regulation, and immunomodulatory compounds that may support the innate immune system. It is, in every biological sense, where the human relationship with fermentation began. And in many ways, it represents everything that has been quietly lost in the modern pursuit of convenience and shelf life. There's a thread running through all 10 of these beverages, and it is not simply that they are old, or that they taste unusual, or that they require patience to make. The thread is this: every single one of them represents a form of intelligence. The intelligence of a culture that understood, without microscopes or clinical trials, that life supports life. That the way to maintain health was not to eliminate microorganisms, but to cultivate a relationship with the right ones. Modern medicine has given us extraordinary tools. But somewhere in the pursuit of sterility and convenience, many of us lost something that our great-grandparents never had to think about because it was simply part of how they lived and what they drank. The question worth sitting with is this: what would change in your body, your energy, your digestion, your resilience, if you brought even one of these ancient drinks back into your daily life? Leave your answer in the comments below, and tell us which one you're going to try first. The conversation that follows might be the most important one in this comment section.